Hello, I'm Amber Middleton, and this is Human Resources at the YMCA of Greater Seattle, an interview with Dave Motor, Program Specialist. One of the first things Dave and I talked about in our interview was the human resources issues and laws that impact the industry. The first major impact is the HIPAA law, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. This law protects a patient's personal medical information, so it cannot be shared with anybody unless the patient gives consent. So even if we're sharing from one medical service to another medical service, the information still needs to be released from the patient. Other laws that affect the industry are the equal opportunity laws. They're not only an equal opportunity in employment, but they're equal with their clientele as well. They work with large, diverse groups of clients, and it's important to have a diverse culture as well. They also work with ex-convicts and ex-addicts, and they do a lot of rehabilitation programs. So the EEOC is going to have a large part within the organization. Something I found in my research is that the month of April is Second Chance Month. It is designed to bring awareness to employees and people with criminal pasts. 75% of Americans say that they will shop at a company that will hire nonviolent offenders, and 74% of Americans have no problem working with nonviolent criminals. Next, we talked about behaviorally anchored job interview questions. First question is, name a time that you have encountered an angry customer or client, and how did you handle that situation? Here the managers are looking for how well they can de-escalate a situation. They're looking at conflict resolution skills, because they will be working with people who have mental health problems. So describe your experience working with a diverse population, including people in poverty and members of the minority. Here they are looking for experience with members of minorities and poverty because they want them to be able to be sensitive in situations and handle privacy issues correctly. Also, they want to know if there's language barriers, how they're going to overcome those language barriers. One of the other things they ask is, name a time that you had a confrontation with a coworker and how did you resolve it? Here they are looking for conflict resolution again, but they also want to make sure that the person knows how to work closely with other people and other organizations. And they want to know that when there is a conflict within the organization, that you can resolve it yourself without having to go to a member of management to help resolve it. And when they ask what your strengths and weaknesses are, they're looking for a confidence level in you. They want to hear what you think that you are good at and what you think you're bad at, and they can kind of gain your confidence level at those things in that way. Next, we talked about 5 specific soft skills. The first and most important is emotional intelligence. The ability to perceive others' emotions, reactions, and perspectives, and to see your own emotions, reactions, and perspectives is very valuable. It's important that you can control your own reactions and stay calm and think clearly in situations. So you need to have a high level of emotional intelligence. Communication is going to be next. They're going to want written and verbal skills, and you must be competent in them. Collaboration. Working with others in other departments and other services outside of the organization. So teamwork, time management. You're going to have very busy schedules. You need to keep by your appointments and really keep to everything you're supposed to do. You need to allot enough time to do everything. If you miss an appointment, that can be catastrophic for a client. They could lose a roof over their head. So it's really important that you stick to your schedule and you allot yourself enough time for everything. And then you also need to have really good problem solving skills. They want you to be able to do this on your own without going to a manager. They want you to be able to think clearly in situations, and they, again, they want you to be able to resolve the issues yourself. Sorry for my stammer. Factors that managers use in designing a professional development plan for employees. There is an extensive training that is started out with all new hires. That is because they want their employees to have an advantage from the beginning. So they give them a lot of training. It's not too overwhelming, but it is going to be extensive because they want them to have all the tools that they need coming out the gate. So as far as continual education, they require it and they encourage it. So there's certain courses that are required every year. Safety courses are required every year. Cultural courses are required. You can do additional safety and cultural courses to add credits on. Everybody's given a certain amount of credits that they need to use throughout the year, and the credits you get them by doing continual education. So you can either learn more trade skills or learn other departments. It doesn't really matter as long as you are continuing to grow within the organization and as an individual. It's important for the organization for all employees to be successful. The organization cannot be successful without employees being successful. So they really want you to learn and grow and be successful so that they can be more successful. A major factor is a skill gap. An employee doesn't have the tools and techniques that they need. So get them those, get them into the trainings, get them working, doing that skill. Maybe they're going to learn something new in another department and they can cover that department at a later time. Could be extremely useful for the organization. Next, we're going to talk about the ADA and EEOC laws and regulations. As stated before, these are very, very important within the organization. They're abided by strictly. The YMCA of Greater Seattle provides equal opportunity employment for all employees and applicants without regard to race, color, religion, sex, gender identity, pregnancy, sexual orientation, national origin, age, disability, and genetic information, just like the law. There is no difference there. And same with the Americans with Disability Acts. They work closely with disabled clients and in the rehabilitation, so they're training them. It's really important that they are that everybody has everything that they need to work. If there's any type of disability that needs accommodation, accommodations are met. One of the examples of this is that recently they had to do a remodel on the second floor because there was not enough space for wheelchairs to get through between certain cubicles. So they just gutted it out and they're redoing the whole floor. Another thing they're putting in is a special chair lift to get anybody who's in a wheelchair outside of the organization, out a window in case of an emergency. Right now there's space where a regular bodied abled person can get out the window, but somebody who's disabled could not get out. So they're installing a lift so that that person can be lifted out of that window like everybody else is. Compliance with these federal laws and regulations is required, and violations will lead to disciplinary actions or termination. Job descriptions. A couple of job descriptions of positions that you would see at the YMCA. This one is child and family therapist. This person is going to be accurately assess and diagnose of mental health disorders. They're going to design and implement treatment plans. They're going to work with case management and case referrals, working closely with primary physicians. They're also going to have strong human relations and communication and sensitivity skills. This position requires a high level of critical thinking with the diagnosis and treatment planning. Qualifications are a master's degree and 1-year clinical service. Family support specialist. Again, this position will also require a high level of critical thinking because of the support services that they supply. They're working with the whole family together to improve their quality of life, finding all resources for the family situation. Excuse me. They're going to provide mental health services, including strategies, de-escalation, crisis response, and planning events. Qualifications are going to include associates or higher in social work, psychology, human development, and mental health. And it's going to require a 2-year minimum experience working with families. The training curriculum is, like I said before, extensive. It's going to have a lot that's required. There's even more required of some other positions that have more technicalities in them. Some of the requirements are background checks, authorized driver's packets, ethnic reporting roster, HIPAA and behavioral health training videos. There's going to be a ton of safety videos and cultural diversity videos as well. Recommendations on how to enter into the human resource industry. Go to school. The most important thing you could do is to get a good education. You want to take some extra leadership classes and seminars. You can even go to conferences. You're not going to get very far without a degree. Maybe some smaller organizations might allow somebody in a human resource position without a certificate or degree, but larger organizations are going to require some sort of higher education. So go to school. You will need to be able to communicate properly. That's going to be your number one thing. If you can learn a second language, do so. But being able to communicate properly and clearly so that everybody can understand what's going on and listening to what's being communicated to you. Next, importantly, is networking. It's going to be really important to network. You can go to these conferences and leadership classes to network. You can get your foot in the door at the organization that you're looking to get into. Excuse me. There's a lot that can be done with networking. The world is constantly changing. Innovation is happening every day. And really the only way that you can find that out is by networking, communicating properly, and going to school. So they just, recommend to do those things. Biggest challenges in the HR industry are policy violations. An organization that offers rehabilitation services, including organizational trainings and employment, there are many policies and procedures in place, and these policies can be easily violated. Some of the CDP positions have strict no alcohol or drugs, and that's including outside of work. So if somebody is an ex-alcoholic, they would not be able to drink outside of work, and if they even had one drink, they relapse, and that's a violation of their contract. So these types of challenges are often prevalent in the YMCA and the organizations industry. Okay. In conclusion, there we go. In conclusion, to be a truly great leader, an individual needs to set themselves clear and concise goals. They need to work hard and seek to learn and engage fully. To acquire a deep understanding of these concepts and theories, you must be able to think critically, work effectively and efficiently. The concepts discussed in this paper are current trends in human resources. However, the world is ever changing and there's always more to learn. Thank you.